Good afternoon. I am AA members and welcome to a special presentation. Today, we have our wonderful partners at Adobe talking to us and sharing the latest and greatest and the future of data in a presentation called Data, the State of a Nation. My goodness, I am excited about this. We have the wonderful Camille Savage, who's a client partner at Adobe and going to be sharing some latest and greatest insights for you all. Camille, over to you.
Thanks, Sam. I'm just going to share my screen. It's a pleasure to be here today. Great. So, as Sam mentioned, we're here to talk to you about the Adobe advertising point of view on the state of the nation as we move into a world without cookies and the data loss and deprecation that comes with it and what you can do about it. So with the clock ticking, marketers have ongoing concerns about their digital ad strategies. 53% of executives are concerned with scaling and reaching their target audiences when third-party cookies are deprecated. But according to the IAB in Australia, 25% of brands are actually not confident in measuring and assessing their advertising. So the impending sunset of third-party cookies have marketers concerned about activating their audience data at scale, but also measuring the success of their advertising. Despite these concerns, marketers still need to deliver on their key business objectives, but there are some considerations to take into account. So we know Google will eventually deprecate the third-party cookie, and we know that 75% of the industry still heavily rely on third-party cookies. However, there is some research to say that 50% or more of the market has already moved into some sort of cookieless solution. So this really represents an opportunity for brands who do shift away from cookies and start testing more privacy-focused solutions, as they'll be able to maintain a majority of their personalization use cases. But with cookie deprecation and signal loss, brands need to arm themselves with new sets of capabilities to succeed. So to start with, the value of third-party data will be limited, which means advertisers will need to find ways to drive traffic to their site, or other strategies such as contextual or alternative IDs will need to be evaluated. The next change is your anonymous traffic, and this will be less valuable in the future. This is a given, obviously, because one of the main reasons why cookies are being deprecated is to address the privacy concerns of consumers. So as a result, you'll need to find ways to encourage authentication, as authenticating traffic will ensure you have the right privacy and consent frameworks to activate your data. However, with authentication, your known users will be scarce, as authentication actually adds an additional step or a hurdle for you to collect that audience. So as a result, your retargeting use cases, although they'll be similar, they'll, given the scarcity, the scale will become an issue and you'll need to apply your learning strategically. With scarcity in your known users, creative optimization will be critical, as you need to ensure that you can maximize the impact of your creative, impact that your creative has on your target audience. And as there's no like-for-like replacement for cookies coming, measurement will become fragmented, while your ad journeys will become disjointed, which will require you to rethink how you orchestrate and deliver connected journeys to your audience. So with all these new capabilities required from cookie deprecation, one way the industry is moving forward is towards utilising ID solutions to ensure marketers can still activate on their previous use cases. But what are these ID solutions and how do they work from an advertising point of view? So what are durable IDs? So this outlines two primary durable IDs and what the main differences are. So the first one is profile IDs. These are used to manage user profiles, so they don't show up in the bid stream, so we can't target them from a programmatic media sense. And for that reason, Adobe Advertising DSP won't integrate directly with profile IDs. They'll live in data clean rooms and customer data platforms. So what they are used for is in the context of a CDP, they'll become key identifiers for building profiles. You'll use them to stitch together different data sets, so data enrichment, or you can use them for data collaboration. So if you have an advertiser and a publisher that use the same profile ID, you can do data collaboration such as matching. And if you're using these profile IDs within a CDP, it's important to note that these do need to be translated into a universal ID to activate in the programmatic media landscape. So the second type of durable ID are what also known as bidstream IDs, also known as universal IDs. So these, from a programmatic or paid media activation perspective, is what we care about. You have two sorts of these bidstream IDs. The first is authenticated IDs. For example, if someone completes a lead form on your website, you get an authenticated ID that's tied to an email. And the second type is the probabilistic IDs. So these aren't tied to any email. They're derived from more soft signals such as IP address, page URL, user agent string or timestamp. But to note, both of these bidstream IDs require consent. So they are privacy compliant. And the most notable difference between the two is that is scale. So most site traffic is not actually authenticated. Therefore, you need to keep in mind that although authenticated IDs are great because they're deterministic, it's important to note, they may have limited scale, less than 10% of your site traffic. So therefore, you need to consider having both a probabilistic ID and an authenticated ID in your strategy to manage, to increase your scale. So far, LiveRamp's Ramp ID, UID 2.0, and ID5 are the three main bidstream IDs that have the most scale in APAC, and each have different characteristics. With Ramp ID and UID 2.0 adopting an authenticated ID approach, and ID5 is a hybrid of both authenticated and probabilistic IDs. Overall, these three IDs are really important, and advertisers' cookieless strategy moving forward should incorporate each to balance scale. So Adobe Advertising has partnered with all three of these ID solutions. So why all this talk about IDs? The digital advertising ecosystem was built off the back of cookies, as we all know. Cookies enabled advertisers to target their first-party audiences and measure the effectiveness of their campaigns. But with the sunset of third-party cookies, advertisers need to find an alternative or durable ID to activate in their first-party data for advertising. So how will these durable IDs apply to advertising? Both forms of durable IDs will be required for advertisers. Profile IDs will be collected from an advertiser's customer data platform or clean room. And these profile IDs will need to be converted into a universal ID to ensure your segment can be targeted in the DSP. Additionally, there are browser-specific ID solutions out in market that are being tested to replace cookies. One such solution of importance is Google Chrome's Privacy Sandbox solution. Chrome has two proposals that they're currently available for testing. So the first one is Topics. Topics is Google Chrome's proposal to replace the prospecting use case. So how this works is Chrome will assign each browser 3 topics based on the sites visited by the user over the last 7 days. Topics are defined as broad, high-level summary type of content viewed. So for example, if you're reading up about succulents, you'll fall into garden enthusiasts. These topics will then be available for DSPs to bid on, and for Adobe Advertising, we will integrate topics as an additional signal for our platform's optimization algorithm. So the second proposal is protected audiences, also known as FLEDGE. This proposal is to replace the retargeting use case. So with this proposal, brands will create interest groups based on site traffic. This site traffic is tracked by the implementation of a Chrome pixel placed on a brand's website. From this, Chrome tracks the browser IDs that belong to each interest group. A DSP can then either positively or negatively target the interest groups during activation. However, Chrome manages all of the audience level decisioning, such as frequency management. So in effect, you are retargeting the specific interest group, someone who visits your site falls into, as opposed to retargeting the specific user who visited your site. For Adobe advertising, the protected audience interest groups will be pushed into our platform, ready for brands to target specifically in their campaign activity. So we've pulled together a bit of a checklist to help you and your advertisers in the future and to simplify things. So the best way to think of what advertising will look like when third-party cookies are deprecated is to break it down to the specific advertising use cases. So with retargeting, there'll be two specific types of first-party data that advertisers have, as we mentioned earlier, authenticated and unauthenticated traffic. So with your authenticated traffic, you'll be able to activate these segments through the use of authenticated IDs, such as RAMP ID or UID 2.0, and also through data collaborations with premium publishers via a CDP. With unauthenticated traffic, the primary recommendation is to use a probabilistic ID, such as ID5. And then once available, Chrome protected audiences will be another way to reach this audience. So prospecting. With user-based prospecting, previously this would have been activating a third-party cookie audience, but this will now shift to using those same third-party audiences, but now being mapped to a probabilistic ID. Additional options also include using seller-defined audiences and lookalikes within publisher audiences. Contextual targeting won't be affected from third-party cookie deprecation, so you'll still be able to use our platform optimization model that's proprietary, as well as any third-party contextual services such as Comscore, Proximic, Semasio, that are fully integrated into our DSP, or Oracle Grapeshot, albeit with a limited lifespan. Additionally, once available, Chrome topics will also form part of your contextual strategy. So how can you achieve your business goals with Adobe advertising, once cookies do get deprecated? Maximising your first-party data will be an important element with cookie deprecation. Adobe advertising has always been really strong and had a strong focus in ensuring advertisers can maximise their first-party data in their advertising efforts. Our Bidstream ID integrations and partnerships with contextual providers can help advertisers scale their activity with prospecting strategies. And then targeting to your unauthenticated visitors will help bridge the gap while you scale your authenticated data. And our partnership with ID5 can help advertisers with this use case. And evolving your cookieless media strategy, particularly with how you measure success and track conversions, will be one of the most important use cases to solve for. So with these, you need to accelerate your customer acquisition without third-party cookies. With cookie deprecation, ensuring you can activate and make use of your data is imperative for marketers. Adobe Advertising is agnostic and has built integrations with many of the leading CDPs in market, such as Telium, Optimizely, Amperity, and Adobe's own real-time CDP. We'll continue to build these integrations with the leading CDPs, ensuring the data you collect and ingest into actionable profiles can be activated on your platform across all your paid channels. With our integration with real-time CDP, advertisers can collaborate with publishers and partners to enhance their existing activation and measurement use cases while ensuring they have the right privacy and consent frameworks in place. With a CDP, brands can utilize specific advertising use cases such as direct activation of your first-party audiences with publishers, using audience overlaps to surface when specific publisher audiences that drive incremental reach on your existing audiences, and then utilizing measurement partners to understand which audiences delivered on your campaign objectives. With the right CDP in place, advertisers can advance their first-party foundations and enhance their campaign activity. So one way Adobe Advertising can help you and your clients is in finding and prospecting to new customers through our authenticated third-party marketplace. Through our integration with the main third-party data providers, you can enhance your prospecting efforts with off-the-shelf audiences that are powered by our partner ID graphs. As you can see in the screenshot, you'll be able to get a count of the segment broken out by the bidstream ID. You can then select the bidstream ID you'd prefer to target in the platform on behalf of your client. So one benefit we haven't spoken about with using these bidstream IDs is that you can now go beyond targeting just Google Chrome browsers, which you were limited to before with cookies due to targeting and measurement limitations. With these bidstream IDs, brands can now find incremental performance and target across all browsers, including Safari and Firefox. So with Adobe Advertising, you can measure the impact of scalability of these bidstream IDs and gain further insights using our advanced measurements and strategy solutions. Another way we can help to find and prospect to new customers is through contextual targeting. As we mentioned earlier, contextual targeting is largely unaffected by cookie deprecation, and as a result is one of the key strategies we see in advertisers being able to achieve scale. With Adobe Advertising, we have integrations with the leading contextual providers, like I mentioned earlier, such as Comscore, Proximic, Double Verify, where brands can activate topic targeting and suppression and pre-bid filtering all within the UI of the platform. Also, if you wish to utilize contextual targeting specifically from a publisher, we also support this via a PMP activation where the specific targeting can be overlaid on a PMP deal. And then finally, our platform algorithm also factors in over 40 specific contextual signals from the bid stream for all campaigns set up in our platform. One of the challenges of cookies will be the limited scale that brands have with their authenticated audience, as I mentioned earlier. This will take time to build and scale as brands look to find ways to authenticate their site traffic. One way they can plug that limited scale is with their unauthenticated traffic to their website. So with our integration with ID5, you can retarget to brands' unauthenticated visitors. So as ID5 ingests both authenticated and unauthenticated traffic, brands can translate their unauthenticated audience segments into an ID5 that can be then activated on Adobe Advertising. So from this, you can personalize your retargeting activity and look to authenticate these unknown visitors and drive them further down the purchase funnel. Then we come to measurement. So measurement will be another challenge when cookies are deprecated. Brands will need to go back to basics with their measurement, looking at reach as well as incrementality testing, as cookie deprecation will create a lot more silos with your activity, from testing different bidstream ID solutions to setting up PMP deals with key publishers. Adobe Advertising's in-platform household reports can help brands with actionable insights across their strategic publisher partners, all within a single view. This means you can plan and optimize towards effective unique reach, identifying opportunities for incrementality. And additionally, our household level reports provide campaign level insights of the performance of key marketing objectives, enabling you to go further in your analysis and understand which of your channels is delivering incremental reach and which is delivering on-site conversions. So in summary, Adobe Advertising is here to help you. We can activate your first-party data across paid media using Adobe Sensei AI's powered optimization. We can find and target new prospects using our natively integrated durable ID audiences and contextual-based personalization. We can drive qualified site traffic from premium channels by testing creative to users who are actually unauthenticated on your site. And then we can adapt your cookieless media strategy by leveraging our household reports to optimize to incremental reach and incrementality. Thank you very much. And if you've got any questions, please let me know.
Camille, thank you so much for that. And thank you, Adobe, for your support of the independent sector. So guys, there are the contact details on the screen, but feel free to reach out to us at any time that we can connect you to anyone within Adobe. To get further information, we'll also share the presentation on the closed LinkedIn group and also within our newsletter. Thank you so much for joining us, Camille. Thank you so much for that, and talk to everyone soon.
Great. Thank you, Sam. See you later.